Hi, my name's Kylie,
I'm Rose.
and this is Shooting the Bull podcast. Welcome to the fucking show. Welcome to the circus. Welcome to the buffoonery.
Welcome to the shit and the show.
Oh, that's good. No, that's good. Let's use it. Welcome to the shit and the show.
I feel like I'm the shit.
Do you want to be the shit? You are the shit, buddy. You are good. You're out here. You're serving today.
I don't know. I don't care. I'll be whatever.
Do you want to stick with the last one, or do you want me to redo it? I can.
I'm good. I don't care.
Okay, cool. Daryl, use that. Thank you.
Yeah. If not, we'll do it later.
Yeah, we'll redo it if you need us to redo it. We absolutely will.
Okay.
We're ready to get into today's thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them what you're going to present today? I have two quips, two, maybe not two, but one short little story that I want to talk about because I'm angry about it. But go.
I have like 8 pages front and back of the local murders from the LC Valley.
That's fun.
Oh, it is a
Not
puzzle.
fun, but
no.
It's not fun, but
it's fun to dig into.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, and from my understanding, you were telling me that the cousin, one of the girls who had died or was murdered, comes back and
yeah, for 10 plus years she's come back.
That's good on her. That's that they were super close. That's really cool.
After one of them that they were associated with the Civic Theater, a lot of them moved here because they wanted to be close to help find their friend.
Oh, for sure. I don't blame them at all.
And to kind of keep their eyes on the suspect.
Right. Oh,
so
nice. Right.
It's kind of interesting.
Okay, here's my one inappropriate quip because this should not be the beginning of this podcast. I went to my cousin's Halloween party this weekend. It's the first one I've ever been to. And they do her up for Halloween. They are top tier Halloween people. Did I tell you my costume?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you anyway because they don't know what it is.
Yes.
For all of my Bob's Burgers fans out there, I was a nun with a briefcase and I was none of your business. And that's funny as fuck. That's beautiful. We go to this Halloween party and there's a costume contest. And I was like, fucker, I'm
I'm sorry, hold on. You should have had a beaver on your costume.
Why the fuck would I have a beaver?
None of your damn business.
Oh, you got a little spicy there.
I cussed. Sorry, Mom.
Did you not cuss at all in the last one?
I did 3. Oh. That was 2. 3. And I was feeling a little loose.
A little loosey-goosey.
I was trying to be professional. You were like, yeah. And I'm like, wow.
I'm a loose cannon, baby. I'm out here going. Anyway, back to my story. Okay, so we're at this costume contest and it's fine and it's great and we're all chilling, we're having a good time, and they announced the winners of this contest, of the costume contest, and I was like, fucker, I'm a shoo-in. I got it. You know who? There was 4 categories: most original, funny, scariest, and I don't remember the last one, but it was just best couples. They get up to the funniest and I'm like, I'm a shoo-in. I got this.
Oh my god, it's gonna be something stupid. Dolly Parton or something.
Close. It was a gentleman. I don't remember his name and I don't remember his affiliation.
You're not important.
You're
sorry.
To someone you're important. Just not right now.
Not in the story.
No, he was dressed as Barbie. That was his costume. And I'm like, there is nothing funny about a gentleman in a dress. He was serving that night. He was serving cunt all night. He was looking good. And I'm sitting here that's not even funny. He's just dressed as Barbie. That's not even a thing.
You're going up to the tables. You're like, you want to talk about the Holy Spirit?
With my briefcase and shit. Oh my God, yeah.
You want to repent your sins?
You can whisper them into the briefcase.
Father, are you there?
No, so in my opinion, I was gypped. I was truly. I
mean, it's probably funny that he did it.
But
yours is funny.
His heels. Let me tell you, he could walk. He knew what he was doing. He could get in there, and I'm sitting here God damn it. It's fine, whatever. You know what the most original costume was? It was a lady with a shirt with a guy, the shirts that have the pecs and the abs and it's really hairy and it's gross.
Yeah.
That was her. And it was a little gingerbread. She was Lord Farquaad.
Oh, which was, my God.
Looking back on it was a little funny. I'll give it to her. That was pretty. It was pretty. In what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. No.
Nope. Intuitive? No, not intuitive.
No.
It doesn't matter. Wrong. We're going to move on. Anyway, that's just my story from this week. And
that was great.
We had a great time, but I just felt like I could have done better. It's fine. I've got all plans for next year's costume. It's fine. I got it. I'm on it. I think Caleb's going to be a butcher and I'm going to be a pig.
I was just going to say that. Are you going to be a pig?
Shut the fuck up.
Well, you said butcher. It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was after that.
I was like, are you reading my mind right now? We normally do.
Bacon.
Hold on. Stop. I'm thinking of a number from 1 to 20. What am I thinking of?
20.
No. 17, though. You were close.
Oh. Okay, do it again. I'll actually hone it.
Okay, go.
6.
Shut the fuck up. No, you knew.
No, how would I
know? You knew.
That was not pre-planned.
You knew?
No, I'm a witch. Anyway.
Tell me your story.
Okay.
Let's honor the victims of the local LC Valley.
Hit me. Okay, so here's the question.
Hit me.
Have you heard about it your whole life? Like, you know about it?
You know what's fun? Actually, no. The only time I ever heard about it, or the first time I heard about it, was when they came out with the documentary on...
So they have it on Prime and Hulu, and I think a couple other places. It's called Cold Valley.
Yeah. And it was really informative. 2-parter.
Yeah. Well, they meshed everything. Like, everything. And the detective,
go ahead.
Jackie Nichols, she is out of Asotin. And so I grew up pretty much in Asotin and went to Asotin school. So it was kind of cool to watch her. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's like Miss Cowdrey's house. Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, because you're just driving around, you know.
Right. That's cool.
I was in Chicago at the time. Going to school, and it just came on. I was like, oh my God, like, we're so cool. Like, we have this freaking whole show. I didn't know. Like, I grew up knowing, and I knew. Like, we all know who he is.
Right.
And I'll say his name later. But,
you know who you are.
Anyway, but it's weird because he's tied in so much stuff, but they've never been able to nail him.
I imagine it's like circumstantial evidence. Is that right?
Well, a lot of it is the data back then. They didn't have forensic testing. They didn't really have fingerprint. Like,
the technology.
They don't have that.
Right.
So it would like go to a point and stop. So it's just like, where did they need to go from there?
Right.
And so it was like a loop. And in the episodes, you could tell they're just like, well, that was another loop. Like, we don't even, like, there's no...
There was a lead and then it just went cold almost instantly.
Right. So it's...
You have so many papers. So many papers.
I know. I'll be fast.
Don't you dare.
Oh,
I want all the juicy. Give me.
Careful. We're talking about
that's fair.
Dismemberment. So let's be careful, please.
Okay, I'm so...
Okay. So first off, we want to say that we obviously care about the families.
Oh my gosh, of course.
We've grown up around this story for our whole lives, and our parents have. And we both are very big into true crime. But the biggest thing is we want it to be talked about more because this person is actually still out there. They've never caught him. He frequents the valley still. The Pacific Northwest is like his heaven. So it's kind of that scary thing. So we want to respect them, and if we joke or anything, it's
it's never directed towards like I don't think we'd say anything. This is our very first episode was very, very funny. This episode and maybe the next one are probably not going to be super funny.
Yes.
But I think it's a really good point to shed some light on some local stuff and to really like honor the people who aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
And I think, it's Halloween time. It's also that kind of like, time of year. So I agree. I think, for sure. No.
So that's pretty much what we'll say about
the disclaimer.
Yes. So the years that it took place was between 1979 and 1982.
79 to 82, so 3 years.
Yeah. So no case has fully been solved. There was 5 deaths and 3 cold cases. So because there's a couple bodies in like one case, or people in one case, it counts as one case.
Sure.
So the first one she was age 12. 1979 in Asotin, Washington, and at that time the town was about 1,000 people. Like, it was really tiny.
Everybody knew everybody.
Yep. And so that was the argument, was that everyone knew everybody. So they had never, the biggest story that was hitting papers were like a car accident.
Right.
Like they didn't have this. So so she went missing. She was at the parade for the fair and then went to a friend's house And
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but can I just say one thing for people who aren't from here that are maybe listening and kind of wanting some more information?
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at Asotin and we say there's only like 1,000 people there, you also have to take into consideration that like there's a town, Clarkston, and then Lewiston that are 5 minutes away. Like they are within a stone's throw of each other. So like Asotin by itself was absolutely tiny. Like you weren't going out there unless you know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, kind of a deal. But it's also good to note that like they are next to populated areas.
Yeah.
I mean, not super populated. I think Clarkston has 12,000 and Lewiston has 30,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So not super big populated, but it is something to know.
So the last time I talked about this, it was like Asotin, Lewiston, and Clarkston can all fit in Spokane.
Oh, wow.
Or
yeah.
Or not Coeur d'Alene. Somewhere up there that it was like a bigger city that amount of population, but it's spread out. And a big point in these cases is that we're around so much farmland and hunting. So like there's cabins that have 60 acres each. There's ones that have 100 something acres each. Farmland goes on for miles. And a lot of this is all taking place where they find anything is in these rural like areas where it's like, wait, how did he even get there? Like he had to drive it. Whatever.
There's just a lot of places that people could end up being in.
Yeah. And then our river, it goes down, in between the two states, and then the Clearwater comes in. So we have this two rivers meeting one river. And so we have a lot of water too. So there's a couple
So not only could somebody stash
it.
somebody in like a bunch of farmland or a bunch of land that really nobody goes on to, you could also just huck them in the river. And then, if, once you go into the river, it takes like a week or two to find you.
Yeah.
I mean, and granted, they're only very small, like statistically of times, but you can just go into the river and just never come out.
Yeah.
You could get stuck under a rock.
Well, we have back eddies that have taken lives every summer. For sure. Multiple every summer.
Oh, yeah. My cousin that I was telling you about, he's the one who actually just passed a couple months ago because he fell into the river and ended up getting stuck. So yeah, it's hard.
And it happens.
It's rough area.
Yeah, we have tree debris, stuff that comes down. So it's like even boats, if you're not experienced, you need to be careful.
Oh, yeah. There's a handful of times, like you can only take certain boats up there too. Like you're not going to go up there with fiberglass. Like you're going to go up there with like an aluminum.
Yeah, you get destroyed if you go up with fiberglass.
Oh, yeah. No, you got to be a navigator.
So it's pretty interesting, actually. Our river, my mom said it used to freeze over to the point that they would have like horse-drawn carriages ride on it.
Oh, my gosh.
So like at one point, it was a lot deeper than it was wider, and it would freeze. So like there's so much back then of just terrain issues that like the detective said at one point, she's like, it's like looking for a needle in a million haystacks. And I was like, yeah, but she's not giving up, but like
right. But it also like just to point out the gravity and like the odds that we're up against here is a lot.
So the little girl from Asotin, she was at the parade. Her mom said she could go to the house of her friend, and so she suffered from heat stroke a lot. So she called her mom and said, "Hey, Mom, I need to."
What was her name? I'm so sorry.
That was Christina White.
Christina White. Okay.
And I actually knew her parents and her sister.
Oh, wow.
Her mom actually passed. I don't remember if her dad has yet, but that was the thing, is they wanted it solved before she passed. And they haven't. Right. But age 12, like that's right when your life gets started with your kids and you can do stuff as like a grown adult.
Yeah, you can go do like fun things together. You don't get to, you don't have to find a babysitter. There's nothing. They can go and, conduct themselves in an appropriate manner, kind of a deal.
And at this point, you always did stuff by yourself. Like you walked, you did whatever. So like this wasn't a not normal thing.
You said 79?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think they were still hitchhiking back then.
Dude, I saw a hitchhiker the other day on the way up to Spokane. Like literally, Jordan and I were like, wild. We drove by and we're like, nope.
No, because you
that was it. Hitchhikers. That was it. It was a full moon. That was it.
Yeah. Ooh, scary.
Yeah. Both of us were like, we're good.
We're not going to tempt fate
Taco
today.
Bell. Like, no.
Did you just say go to Taco Bell?
Yeah, I was like, avert this situation. It was really awkward.
That's beautiful.
So she walked. So she had this whole heat stroke thing.
Sure.
She called her mom, and her mom said, "Okay, well, I have your sister. Whatever. You cool down with a towel and ride your bike home." And that was like the whole conversation.
Right.
Normal. She then goes missing.
Where did she call from?
A house.
Okay.
house, and he went missing, right?
Right.
Gone. So about a couple weeks later, a farmer found her school papers. And so it was up the creek.
Sure.
And it had been chucked, so they started looking for her body there. Well, they never found her.
Oh, they still haven't found her?
They've never found her.
Wow.
So that was a really big one, but her brother was like, "Oh, yeah, she was like a tomboy. She baited her own hook. Like, she wouldn't have just gone easy."
Right.
So like they knew that something was kind of up because it was just really odd. Like her bike wasn't even found, just like none of it. But at the time, the chief of police had only been on the job for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And he had no training.
Right. Well,
they didn't do training.
It's a tiny, it's 1,000 people. Like
you have a gun? Good. Like that was it. Right. So,
you know what? That's actually that's a good point. A lot of small town cases, hindsight's 20/20, right? So you go into these small towns and where they're not equipped or they've just never experienced something like that before, because that's a very serious crime. And then you see a lot of mistakes and bungles and things that are like, okay, we should have done that way differently than we did now. And like we talked about beforehand, the technology just wasn't there.
No.
But there's just a lot. It's always hard to, it's easy to push blame on law enforcement and stuff like that, but it's always hard to just, when we're not used to those things, it's just hard to go through it. And it's hard to well,
and again, that never freaking happened. So I'm sure he when she went missing, it was like, oh, that's what he said.
She's probably just at a friend's house.
And that's what they said. She's like, oh, she just went back to the fair, or she went back to, you fill it in because that's not even in your mind.
Your brain doesn't immediately go to panic mode. Right.
Yeah. So the school papers were found. 40 years later, that's the only evidence.
Really? Wow.
And Jackie still has all the papers.
Who's
Jackie Nicholson? She's the detective.
Oh, the detective on the case.
Not my cousin. Not your best friend, Jackie.
I was like,
Jackie somehow got pulled into this.
That bitch never told me anything of that. So whatever.
So that was kind of the start.
Right.
And then it just hit a dead end. So 2 years later, and this is going to be a trigger warning. So 2 years later.
In 82? 81?
No. 1979 was...
When did Kristen White go? 79, right?
Christina White was 1979. So yeah, 80...
So then 2 years later would have been 81,
81,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 years later, evidence was found out of the Red Wolf Crossing Bridge. They found a leg, a torso in the river, wrapped in newspaper and then trash bags.
Yeesh.
They called the
forensic team.
All of it. Literally everything.
Right.
Divers, all of it. So they recovered the whole body. It was all split up. And I have mixed, so here's the thing. We have, I'll say, legends of this person.
Right.
And then the stuff from the documentary.
Right.
And I can't remember off the top of my head if this was just a story or if this was in the documentary. But I got told that the person of interest was the one that found these first. Oh. I don't remember that in the episode, so I don't want to quote that forever because I'm not sure. But
that's the scuttlebutt around.
Yes.
Around. Right.
So that was found on the 4th of July. So there's a monumental freaking holiday that reminds you of what happened.
Right. With that.
So that was Kristen Davis. So we have Christina White, and Kristen Davis.
Kristen Davis. Okay.
It gets freakier when we get to the third.
Tell me about her. What's her vibe?
So she went missing June 26th. She was a student. So she was in Moscow.
We think high school or
she was 22.
Okay. You.
So she was going to college.
I'm 22. She would have been a junior.
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe.
Right. Do you know what she was majoring in?
No.
I
don't even think people... that one was weird because that one didn't fit in these forever until later.
Right.
No one... They're like, oh, whatever. But 2 years later, right? No other murder than this.
Sure.
So, yes, but no. It's weird.
Now, I don't know if you know this, and I apologize for asking if you don't know, just to put you on the spot, but do we know what they're connecting these two cases by? Or are they just assuming because, there's no way two people are operating in the same area at once?
Well, so Moscow, they kind of played into, it might be that town it might be someone hit her
Sure.
with a car. Like,
right.
So I'll start with this, that she was riding her bike. She had gotten,
Yes.
she was riding her bike to Lewiston from Moscow.
Got it.
So the hitting of the
Makes sense.
her, like, yeah, someone could have run over just to, you know.
Right.
So they weren't really sure. At one point, they're like, well, these can't even be connected because it's so far away. No one leaves the valley, right? Because, like, no one did.
Well,
like, we still don't. A lot of people still don't leave the valley.
No. There's also the age difference. Like, there's 10 years between two of them.
So someone, I think it was that cousin of the one from the Civic Theater, that she's like, why are all the names so similar?
Yeah.
Because it's Christina White, Kristen Davis.
Right.
So it's like, can that be a link? Is there an ex-girlfriend that pissed him off?
Oh, interesting.
You know, so she went at it at an emotional level, and it actually has paid off for her in a lot. Like, she's been doing, that's one that comes back for, you know, 10
every
years
year to kind of do stuff. Right.
So, what triggered it is that she didn't show up to work because her family was like, we don't do that.
Right.
Like, we don't do that.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about your parents, but my parents were always like, you have a job and you're going to go get a job. Like, even
I
now.
was never, I still, like, I would go to work with migraines, headaches.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no calling it and, like, we're going to work.
So the family started looking for her first because the detectives couldn't because of her age. She couldn't be a missing person because
she was
college
over the age of 18.
students go party or whatever.
Right. Which is
what would have happened if they would have started looking for her sooner?
Exactly. That was actually what I was going to say. It's like, I think, like, there's always you always hear about the 24-hour rule or like the, you know, the age limit rule or something like that. And it's just ludicrous. Yeah. I feel like if you, I don't know, but then also you have to play into the, you know, the conversation of like, it's a small town and there's only so many resources that they have that like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it's a tough cookie and it's like everybody loses kind of a deal. Yeah. Like, it's never great.
So she went missing on June 26th and was found July 4th.
Wow. So she was gone, what is that, 3 months?
June, July, babe.
2 months.
No, June, July. That's like a week.
She found it in June?
June 26th.
April. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
April was Christina White.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
So the 26th of June.
Okay.
To the 4th of July, so roughly a week.
Yeah.
So they couldn't find, they didn't look for her, right? Well, the family was, whatever, they were driving up and down. So they end up, news breaks, they found her.
Right.
And the sister, she was young. She was a younger sister.
Oh, anyway. Younger sister.
And she said, I felt like the devil had been set loose.
Yeesh. Oof.
So
that's a statement.
She was definitely like feeling it. But she was found by fishermen at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
Again, can't quote if it was him or not because I don't like that was the legends that we got told.
Sure. Right.
But there was 5 bags. They saved all the paper from them, so they actually still have the evidence from what she was wrapped in. Jackie Nichols has that too.
Right. Did they give you any like information about like, is it newspaper? Is it like
it's newspaper and then it was black trash bags.
Oh, okay.
So Jackie in the episode was actually starting to forensic test the newspaper.
Oh, wow.
Because he wouldn't think of fingerprints. He wouldn't think of spit. He wouldn't think, but like it's also been immersed in water and put in. So like there's just that level of like it's a shot, but it's the only shot, so take it.
Right. Like there's not really a whole lot of other things that we can do.
So the detective said that there's no way that this was done by someone who didn't know what they were doing. And it wasn't a medical base, it was a hunter base, and he knew what he was doing.
How do you know how they knew that? That's an interesting
just how, like, if you look at knife slashes or like whatever.
Oh yeah, she's more like a deer.
It wasn't like he was like sitting there playing Operation. Like he was just doing
like
his
calculated.
Thing.
It was right.
And what the detective said is he knew how to take things apart, which like in a medical terms, you're not doing that. Like you are you're putting stuff together. You're trying to save it.
Right.
But with this, he was
interesting
doing like she was taken apart like you would take a deer apart.
I was going to say we can make the assumption of like he knew it was a hunter because it was.
Yes. Yeah. So 3 years later, the Civic Theater happened. Which is like one of the most iconic freaking buildings in our whole valley.
Yeah. That's now for sale?
No.
Did somebody buy it?
Life update. So I bought it. No kidding. Podcast, baby. No, just kidding. I wish. So it's an old I would say cathedral. I wouldn't even say a church.
Right.
It's a Catholic church.
Right.
Or Methodist, sorry. Methodist, my bad. And it's beautiful stained glass stone.
Oh, yeah.
It's gorgeous. So it was a church. Then it was the home of the Civic Theater, which is a local theater group. And then, like, my dance studio would do shows there. Like, you would just use it. Like, it was just the place
just a
to
performing
have
place.
it was the most elegant. It was history. Then all of a sudden, it was condemned.
Right.
Well, they let Jackie in there to go look through everything, but it just went up for auction.
Right.
Minimum bid was $17,000.
Oh, wow.
Right? 1,000. No, 17,000. What is that?
17,000. 17 grand.
Okay. So
17 grand's really low. Are you sure?
17,000.
17 grand?
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. I'm really bad with numbers.
That's okay.
I.e. Jordan. He gets so mad at me. Anyway, so that was the minimum bid.
Wow.
It received none.
0 bids?
There was like a bid that was so low that they're like, like that was it.
Wow.
So they're talking about demolishing it. So right now there's a petition going around to save it and make sure that it gets demolished for this. Like, this is the goal if you demolish it, because we need answers.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So there's I've signed it.
Oh yeah, send me that link. I also would like to sign it as well.
Because you never know. This could be
there could be evidence in there for sure.
You know what? Honestly, I'm shocked he didn't buy it. But I feel like that might have raised suspicions. But like, why wouldn't he? Like, that's his home. That was, like, it's just weird.
Right. Like, he could play it off as something else.
I don't know. It's just
Those are
weird.
Good questions. Right,
but it's a beautiful building. Like, it's sad that that's where we're at with it. But there's, I mean, every time you go by it, every time I would dance in it, every time I was in it, like, it was like you just kind of felt something.
The presence in there. Right.
So the 3 were taken. There was 2 girls.
This is a Civic Theater ones.
Yes.
Yes.
Christina Nelson.
Really?
So we have Christina White, Kristen Davis, Christina Nelson.
Wow.
And then Brandy Miller. And they were cousins.
Oh, that's tragic for that family.
From what I got told, is that they were cousins. And then this is the cousin that also comes back and, like, searches. She's related to these
2 girls.
I want to say it's just Christina. I actually don't think they're cousins. I think they were friends.
Oh, okay.
So they were going to the store. They were walking to the store. And then the other one is Stephen Pearsall. Or Pearsall.
I was like, that last name sounds familiar.
Yeah. He was 35. So Christina Nelson was 21 and Brandy Miller was 18. So you're...
A lot of age difference here between...
12.
Yeah.
22. 35.
I want to still know why they think they're connected.
So the thought was that he went for the girls.
Sure.
And Steven walked in.
Not them. The 12-year-old, Christina White, Kristen Davis. Like, I don't understand how Christina White is lumped in with these girls.
That's page 7.
I'm shutting up. I'm super shutting the fuck up. Go ahead.
So they went to the theater.
Okay.
He went to, after a party, Steven, to the theater.
Yes.
By his girlfriend. Because he practices clarinet. This was a huge thing. They were allowed to use the washers and dryers. They basically all hung out there. Like, that. It was a very weird, kind of tight-knit group. That
very relaxed when they went in here and farted around.
Like, would spend nights at there. Like, not like that necessarily, but like they would party
into the late evening and then go home kind of a deal. Yeah. Wow.
So he went to the theater. The girls were walking to the store. So the thought is...
Did they know? They all knew each other?
They all knew each other.
They all knew each other.
Okay, so Steven was in the orchestra.
Oh, okay.
He also painted sets.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Very much involved.
Right. Well, if you look at the Civic Theater now, all of them are very... Like, they're all close. They all know each other. They're all very close.
They're theater kids.
They're theater kids. Right.
But you add that to college age, trying to find themselves. That's their tribe.
Oh, yeah. That's their niche.
I think it was Christina. She worked at the theater for some time.
Christina Davis? Nope. Christina
Nelson.
Thank you. I'm so sorry.
So she was just walking with her friend.
Right.
So, like, they all knew. But the person of interest knew all of them through the Civic Theater. Like, there was
Because he was also a part of the Civic Theater.
Yes. So he was like the maintenance person. He I think he played some instrument. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they all knew each other. That was March 19th, 1984. Bodies were found outside of Kendrick. So we have some time. I don't remember the actual date of like when they went missing, but the bodies were found outside of Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
So they start looking, whatever. Jewelry, clothing, that is what ultimately identified the bodies because they had been there for a while and they were in skeletal state.
Wow. Do you know, do you know exactly where in Kendrick they were found?
Yes, but I don't. It was like out on a dirt road. I could show you on the the thing.
Because your girl lives in Julietta, so I go to Kendrick all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
Well, that's what's kind of interesting too is like when you drive around and you listen to this and then you drive past it like because I just drove over Red Wolf Crossing Bridge the other day and I was like, ooh, okay. Yeah. Like it just kind of hits you because like this is what we live with every day.
Right.
You know, and then sometimes when you freshen up on it, you're like, oh yeah, wow.
Right. I mean, I think it's a difference between hearing something on like everybody listens to true crime. Like that's pretty popular.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing to listen to it and to like, imagine things, but to then like go past that location almost every day
and
is
our
rough.
Town is not big.
No,
so
it's
like
not big.
We're hitting these places
You're
daily,
hitting them a
weekly,
lot.
like whatever. Yeah. So it's and so Kendrick is. You have Lewiston, which is where the Civic Theater was, and Kendrick is like what? Not even 30 miles, right?
Yeah, it's like 20, 25 miles.
Yeah.
It's exactly 30 minutes from Julietta to Lewiston, which Julietta is a very small town right before Kendrick. It's like 3 minutes away from Kendrick. So yeah, it's very close.
So they could tell it was the two girls from the theater.
Right.
They were wrapped in rope or cord.
What do you mean? Like head to
just
toe?
Like hands.
Oh, just they were bound. Right.
So, again, local legend.
Okay.
The show at the time was Pirates of Penzance, which matched the rope. So, meaning the rope was taken from the Civic Theater.
Right.
That's the like folklore, right?
Right.
Jackie Nichols thinks that it is a set rope, like that you would pull.
Sure. Like pulleys on and move, curtains and whatever.
But the only people who saw that are the people who were there that day. Like, I don't even think that the rope exists anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, either way, it came from the theater.
Sure.
But the, like, legend, which maybe just makes it more thrilling, I don't know, is that it was the Pirates of Penzance, because that was the that was the show that they were doing currently at the time that they went missing. So, and that gets passed down through the theater kids. These stories get passed down anyway, but in the theater community, when it was still at the Civic, they would light candles and they would tell us.
Wow.
So like they would take like their firsthand accounts or it got passed on so sometimes it gets a little jumbled.
Sure.
And that's why
as stories do over time.
Yeah, and that's why going back to the documentary is important because like it's coming from law enforcement. She's trying to find the like actual answers.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like factual answers here. Right.
So the two girls were found. Stephen has never been found. So the question was, did he do it and run away?
Right.
Like is that like that's the first? Okay, so maybe he did it. Except the guy who is the suspect,
point of interest, right?
Yep, was there that night. He said he wasn't in a first interview. And then later accidentally admitted that he fell through the ceiling. Whatever.
What? How do you? I wasn't there, but then I fell through the ceiling. What?
I wasn't there, but then bam!
I fell through the ceiling. What? What kind of lunatism is that?
It sounds so bad when you say you're like, I just dropped through the ceiling.
Dropped through the ceiling. I just
felt like I should be in a suspect murder scene.
You know what? I tried to Aladdin it, and I didn't get far. I love how
our thing, we're not even making like any jokes about anything. No. We're making fun of this freaking dude. Like
idiot. Cool. I fell through the ceiling.
We're next. Great.
Hey, buddy, if you're going to lie about it, get better.
Hey, tattoos. Ted Bundy said tattoo bodies taste bad, so.
I don't have tattoos. I'm going to get a tattoo.
Hurry.
I'm literally no shit. I'm just going to get whatever tattoos, tattoo taste bad on people in like the anagram of
and
that.
And then get Ted Bundy's signature.
Oh my God. I don't think it's Jeffrey Dahmer, babe.
Is it?
It's Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer ate people.
Who did I say?
Ted Bundy.
Oh, okay.
Ted Bundy was the attractive killer. Which should be okay. Here's the thing. That's like a big thing. Like,
and that's the one Zac Efron played, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Which oh my gosh,
I know that.
I don't remember what his movie was. A lot of people were upset about that movie because like they romanticized him. Okay, here's the thing.
He was a freaking womanizer.
He was, and he was charming. Like that was his whole thing.
At that time,
right?
He was a freaking stud.
He was like, a stud.
You
the unibrow and all. Yeah. Everybody loved it. Like that was the.
But
trend.
it was his confidence too. It was. And that's how he lured the victims. So.
Exactly. So everybody they all are like, oh, they're romanticizing it too much. Well, yeah, because he was romantic. So, that was the whole thing. So anyway, go ahead.
So that case was 35 and 37 years that it has since it had happened.
Oh,
and all that found or went missing, happened, whatever.
Sure.
And that's like as far as that went. Like Stephen has still not been found. They still can't figure out much. Like it's just like this blank space.
Sure.
Homeboy falls through the ceiling.
Homeboy's falling through the ceiling.
He apparently goes takes a nap. Right? So what happened?
What?
Yeah. So what happened was he went up into the attic to do something.
Sure.
Not sure what that was. Hide bodies, probably. But he stepped off the walkway and went through the plaster and fell through the ceiling.
What would be so I'm looking at it as what would be beneficial to tell that story? Just to place him there? Okay. Go.
So the reason why so stupid. So sorry. So he falls through the ceiling, he goes and lays down, takes a nap.
Well, he just fell through the ceiling. That's so much.
So he was dizzy, right?
Yeah.
So he goes and takes a nap.
Concussion. Let's sleep it off.
So that's what he did. Which no one thinks that is what happened because the room.
Is he trying to explain his whereabouts? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the room, right? The green room is here.
Sure.
And the front walkway is here.
What is the front walkway?
That's where Steven walked in. And he said he didn't hear anyone freaking walk in. How would you be sleeping on a couch there and did not see him open the door, turn off the light, and fucking practice his clarinet?
Oh, yeah. I could see maybe coming in and shutting off the light and, leaving, but I could not see.
Dude, if I had a concussion and someone was playing a fucking clarinet, I'd be listen, you're getting murdered.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not supposed to sleep when you have a fucking... What if that's exactly...
Oh my god!
He's like, how fucking dare you?
No, we can't. We can't feel for the killer. No feeling for the killer.
God, no, because that's a ludicrous response.
Yeah.
I have a headache and I'm trying to sleep and you're playing the clarinet. Let me just take you out.
Something that's interesting about Steven is his family said he would never go anywhere without his clarinet. He wouldn't. And it was left in the theater that night. So
so he's not.
Yeah, they, they were like, wait, that makes no freaking sense. He would not just leave. Mm-hmm. So you were right in the front area. You didn't hear him, the car pull up, which everyone had Camaros, Firebirds.
They were loud, right?
Yeah, you're not just gonna freaking sleep through that.
No.
I mean, unless you really hit your head, but no.
I have never been so dedicated to literally anything in my life than this guy is to his clarinet. And that is commitment. That is something to be admired.
Oh no, you and Crumble Cookie, dude.
Don't tempt me with crumble cookie. I love me a crumble
Eat your cookie.
I didn't get crumble cookie today, by the way. You're right there. I got Renata's Bakery, who's out of Norfino. She does great. She got a little pumpkin cookie. Happy Halloween. Go ahead.
Trick or treat, motherfuckers.
Trick or treat, motherfuckers. Don't wake me up.
It's your fucking clarinet.
Fucking clarinet. Here you go.
Merch.
Terrible merch.
If we do that, we will put it in a fund to go towards investigative purposes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
That actually is a good idea.
That's like a donation.
Make this go viral so we could solve this murder. Actually, that would be cool. Anyway.
Could you imagine? Oh, I could go to my grave then after that and be like, I have done my duty for the world.
So could he, for all I care. Dude, when you watch this documentary, it's God, this asshole had no heart. It's just
it pulls at your heartstrings.
Yes.
Right.
So
the cookie.
So he said in a recording that he was not at the theater.
Okay. Like a
the
interview recording?
Detective, like,
old
freaking, like, old.
Oh, wow.
So, like, in the documentary, they actually, what is that when they, like, cover their voice with, like, a different voice? It's like a mod voice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you couldn't hear his actual voice.
Sure.
So he said he wasn't there, which he got a phone call.
He went through the ceiling.
Yeah.
So
he wasn't there. Got a phone call, like, I think it was like midnight or something, that someone called the theater, and it was his wife.
Mm-hmm. He was married? Is he still married?
I don't freaking know. Mm-hmm. So, let's just say, right, like, she called because he was supposed to be there? Like, you're going to say you're not there? Like, your wife just called because you should be there.
To play devil's advocate, I mean...
Tread lightly, bitch.
Okay.
Sorry, I really don't like this apple.
No, it's okay. To be fair, we didn't have cell phones back then.
Yeah.
Where else could he be? You know what I mean? Like, where did he hang out? Like, it is logical to be like, oh, I don't know where What's His Nuts is. I'm going to call because he also goes to the theater. I'm going to call the theater. Maybe he's there to give him credit.
Yeah. So, like, page 7, right? Like, he starts, we'll hop ahead a little bit because I think that this helps. Okay. He starts backtracking, like, years fucking later. Like, after other murders have happened.
Once the story starts to change, you know that that's a problem.
Yeah. So, other shit had happened, and then he interviewed again. So, and he got instructed by the attorney not to freaking talk.
Oh, his attorney?
Like, they're like, dude, stop talking to him.
Right.
So... they offered him a polygraph. He said no, like all the shit. So,
which in any like any human being should not take a polygraph.
No,
they are not accurate, and they do like you will not look.
You will not sink.
Yeah.
Your win.
No.
By failing it, but you will sink your ass in prison if you fail it.
Yeah, it's not, nothing happens if you pass. If you pass, it's just like, oh, okay, you still could be lying. Like,
yeah, you know what?
It doesn't.
Did
prove
you actually fall through the ceiling?
Yeah, exactly. It does not prove your innocence to take the polygraph. So you lose either way. Don't take the polygraph.
And solid evidence is better. Like, yeah, correct. So like,
correct. And the science behind polygraphs are so.
It's not 50-50 in a sense.
Right.
But it's not. It's like, I feel like it's way, like,
you can trick
we're
polygraphs.
guessing, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can trick polygraphs. And then different, like, people who read them, different readers could potentially come out with the same, with different answers.
Well, like, I do a lot of breath work. I do a lot of things like that. So, like, I could probably sit here and be like, yeah, I am 6'5". I'm a freaking speedrunner. Like, I could do, and I'm cool as a cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could calm your heart. So it's like even the physical side, everyone's like, physical stuff doesn't lie. It does, because if you're a sociopath, you don't have that shit anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, your brain, your heart, they don't function properly anyway. Exactly. So
and they also say, like, a rock in your shoe. Like, whenever they're asking the question, press down on that rock, like, cause pain. And then when you answer the question, let up, because your heart will just naturally come down. It'll be like, now you're not getting pain anymore, so you'll naturally relax.
Weird.
So it'll false it every time. Right.
We're here for both sides. If you ever need to get out of a situation,
talk to your lawyers first, then your parents' kids.
But actually, we'll fucking find you first. Anyway, so all that happened, right? So he gets this call to the theater. Mm-hmm. Says he wasn't there. But then he said, oh, I was there. I parked at the front. I was doing some stuff, fell through the ceiling. And then, like, I moved my car to the back to get my tools better.
What?
Which Jackie Nichols finds that the windows at that are dirt level, but, like, perfect level to just toss a body out. And it would be hidden by fences. So, really, he was self-explaining the fact that he moved his car.
Right. He was over-explaining. Well, they also can tell that you're lying when you add too many details.
Yeah.
So we've started with our cars out front. Now we've started with our... I feel bad because it's Caleb and I'm sure he's calling me to do something, but I also don't. We're recording. We're doing things.
Caleb, we're freaking working.
We're working. Stop.
So anyway.
It's 2:09, just so you know.
Okay. So it was just this, like, weird situation where he started, like, backpedaling constantly. And so he says that he wasn't there, like, all that stuff, whatever. So then he was there, obviously, but the girls get found. Stephen was never found. Mm-hmm. But they think, Wells Fargo over here.
Yeah.
They think that he was actually coming from a bar. They were going to the store. He picked them up there, drove them to the theater, and then probably was doing stuff with them, which would explain a loud noise falling through the ceiling, which was all this shit, right?
Right.
And then Stephen, that's the question, did Stephen walk in and see it?
Right.
So, and then, so the girls' bodies were found, Stephen never found. That's kind of where that ended.
Right.
So, the house that Christina White disappeared from, he owned.
Really?
So the question is, did he say, you know what, you're not feeling good, get in the car, I'll take you home.
Right.
Done deal. Right? In between Christina White's house and his house, he had a rental that was vacant at the time. So all the like room in the world at this house that he had, he recently poured concrete. So the detectives tore up the concrete.
They did.
They probed it. They looked at it. They did all this.
Couldn't find anything.
Didn't find anything.
Sure.
But at one point, he was going to sell the house. He was like talking to somebody about selling it, and she's like, "I want to come see it." Right. So she goes, stupid. She goes, and he's like, "I want to show you the basement. I worked really hard in the basement. Like, I want you to see the basement." So this bitch walks down.
Sure.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. This woman walks down and she turns around to look at him like, where are we going? Sure. And he's holding something over his head and he quickly like brings it down and she's like, "Oh my God, what was that?" And he's like, nothing. And like,
gotta get out.
And they talk, she like talks about it. He like brings it around and it's like the knob off of a fence or a bedpost. Like a big.
Right.
Like.
Sure.
So then the next question to her was, well, who all knows you're here? And she goes, lots of people. Like, lots of people know I'm here. My whatever is, like, coming to see. Like, she panicked, and she goes, I need to leave, and leaves. So she got away, right?
It's weird to me that he didn't just continue with his plan.
I kind of
you know what I mean? Like, that's a little weird.
Like, I think she just happened to be like, peace. Like, I'm fucking leaving.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't getting stopped.
Maybe he just felt like maybe he needed to be separate from, like, if they looked at him during the attack, he lost his nerve and wasn't interested in doing it anymore.
Ooh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, he needed to do it behind their back. Like, he needed the comfort and the serenity of them not looking at him or not being seen to then do whatever he was going to do. But the moment that they made eye contact, it was like, okay, cool, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. So he also owned the Dome House in Clarkston. Yeah. Crazy house. Like, sick. Almost bought it.
It was a really nice home.
And at the time, like, the realtor I was working with, she's like, just so you know, like, they might want to do forensic testing. I'm like, that's why I want to buy it. Like,
that's exactly why I want to be
headquarters. Like,
I want to buy it and then have everyone come in here.
Yeah. So the neighbors, when he was living at that house, the neighbors called and said, hey, this dude's, like, digging at, like, all freaking hours of the night. Like, we think that you should...
Well, because they knew. Yeah. Because everyone knew about it.
Yeah. So it was like once the Christina White stuff kind of happened, they already kind of figured out a name. Like they just kind of did.
They already had his name kind of a deal.
Yeah. Because it was so small.
White, which was the first girl.
The very first girl.
Right.
So that whole thing was like, okay, weird. Let's try.
Right.
Which is a lot of this shit.
Right. I can see like I can see him being like if one person who was murdered is connected to you, okay, that's like unfortunate. Like that's weird. Yeah. But 4? Mm-hmm. Like 4 that you can directly link to him?
There's more.
Oh, okay, go.
There's a lot.
Okay.
So this little girl, Stoughton resident.
Yep.
They're out fishing.
Yep.
Truck pulls up. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm lost. Da-da-da. Oh, my dad's up there. Like we could... And like she said, it was like.
Who is this? This is new.
I didn't even write down her name. Like she was not very comfortable. Like talking.
Oh, sure.
She was this little girl at the time, and her family was fishing. They were up under a bridge,
right?
And so she goes, "Oh, like my dad's up there. We could ask him for directions." And she's like, "It was so freaking close to the bridge,
right?
When he asked me." Oh, get in, I'll take you for a ride. Mm-mm. She knew. Like, she was like, no. She goes, no, I'm going to walk. And then he's like, oh, no, I'm okay. Late and leaves. They all leave except one and like a couple stays the night.
Yeah, just
one
like
more
another
night.
Right.
They start seeing a man like popping up in their campground.
What the fuck? Where is this at? I'm sorry, by Red Wolf Bridge?
No, this was like out on the highway. She didn't really say.
Okay.
But it was out enough that it was like, what?
So this is just another girl who just so happened to encounter someone who was
the suspect.
Same guy.
So she is sitting there, like
the couple or the little girl.
She's sitting there and she's like, I see this man. Like, I see him.
Somebody keeps popping up here.
Like, she's like, his face is like burned in my head. Like, I knew what he looked like.
Scared.
So the man went and grabbed a gun. They packed up, left.
And
they were at, I don't remember, it was like Border Days or something. A local thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this band was playing. Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh my God, that's the guy that was there that night. Like, he was on stage.
Sure.
And she goes, what? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, sorry, ma'am. You know, like, whatever. She goes, no, like, what did you say?
Oh, a person next to her was like.
And she goes, well, this guy, like, this is what happened. And she goes, do you know who that is? And she's like, no. And she's like, that's the main suspect in all of the Valley killings. She goes, you're lucky that you guys came out alive.
Wow.
Like, that was, it was just all right there.
Amazing for him to
That woman was a detective's wife. So, like, she knew what the shit she was talking
she knew
about.
what was going on. Right. It's amazing that he still continued to do things. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I would leave town. And even to play devil's advocate again, even if he didn't do it, even if this is conjecture and he didn't do it, I would still fucking leave town. Everybody assume I've already been convicted guilty in the court of the public opinion. I need to get out of here.
Yeah. So the Kristen Davis one, when she was driving, a farmer saw a gold tan van.
Sure.
That he said it looked like he backed up or hit her. Oh. And when he drove by, she was laying unconscious, looked like he had maybe kicked her in the stomach. Like unconscious, just like fetal position. Random farmer. Okay. No. He was driving by.
Oh, okay, sure.
And the back tire on the bike was still spinning. Like, he had just missed the shit that happened.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, he said that son of a bitch had a big grin on his face. Oh. But he didn't think about it and went home. I know.
Okay, hold on. Hindsight's 2020.
He thought he was like, here, I'm here to help, like, da-da-da. He just happened to be smiling. Like, that was literally it. Like, oh, she's getting help. I'm good.
So the farmer didn't actually see him hit her?
No, but he went home and called EMTs. And here's...
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No,
he did.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I was like, I thought he was just happily going home. And I'm like, buddy.
Yeah.
What?
No, he went home to call. Because
no cell phones. Right, no cell phone. Okay, yeah. So he was like, this guy's got it. I'm going to go and call 911 to get him there. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
So at this point...
Wow.
At this point, this is where I get irritated with law enforcement, is when you're an ass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I respect the fuck out of your badge.
Right.
Like, I do. I will... Sometimes I don't agree with what they do.
Right.
Sometimes I don't agree with actions that a police department may do. But you put that badge on for a reason. If I don't respect that badge, how do I expect you to protect me?
Exactly.
And you sure shit better fucking protect me.
Right.
So the EMTs and law enforcement and everything called him back and chewed his ass out for wasting their time because there was nothing there. Like, that's literally what happened. It was like packed up, put him in, like, leave. And by the time they got out there, again, rural, like, we have nothing in that section.
Right. There's like, it's like a 15, 20-minute drive.
Yeah. Right. It's not easy. So the plates were Oregon. It was a van that has later been discovered that the suspect owned. Wow. But they can't really place him there. Right. Again, this is the fuzzy one. Did he find her the morning while he was fishing? Mm-hmm. They're just like weird things.
Yeah.
That one's still a little odd. But I still can't get over the whole medic thing. Like, you're freaking...
Oh, that they called him back and chewed his ass about it?
Yeah. So the farmer said, sorry I didn't catch him, but the Lord will in the end.
Ooh, farmer. That was a good statement. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a solid statement.
Yeah. And when he said it in the documentary, I was like, oh.
That hits home.
Yeah.
That's Can you just say it one more time? I'm sorry, just to feel like...
I'm sorry I didn't catch him, but the Lord will in the end.
That's good.
That's a threat.
That's that's like a divine threat. That is the highest threat. That's a good threat.
Yeah. So then we had a suspect, Harry Hampton,
Okay.
which is not the suspect.
It's just a
He had a hunting cabin. He had killed and raped an 11-year-old girl, shot her in the head.
Oh, wow.
All this shit, right? There's bloody drag marks going to his room because his dad owned an apartment complex.
Right.
And so they took him to a mental hospital. That was it. He escapes, gets free. I don't know. That's vague.
Hold on. Just 1 second. I'm so sorry. He raped and killed an 11-year-old girl.
And he pleaded insanity. Like, he pleaded that he was not mentally okay.
Okay.
So because at that time, they just said, okay. Like, they don't think about that.
There was
shit
no,
now.
like,
there's no data.
Well, you also could probably fake that pretty easy. I mean, even nowadays,
Yeah.
why
are you, what was he, like 20 something living at home? Like, there's all that shit. Like, maybe you do have issues. Maybe there's a
there was always
case.
like preconceived notions.
Yeah.
That like a 20-year-old could never live in their parents' home. Apparently not.
So he went to the hospital. Somehow he gets out. I don't know.
Sure.
He goes to Oregon, has a cabin there around the times that everything was like happening.
Sure.
So that was one of the suspects at the time. He had in his possession guns, handcuffs, multiple vehicles. So like they were like, okay, so all these vehicles could be his. Like there's an argument to it being him. That was like a dead end. Like they went up to the cabin. There was nothing. They found like of course like trash bags, but like what? Like everyone has
got
trash bags.
Right?
But,
if we're going off of that, everyone's guilty.
Yeah. What was unique about this is that his cabin, right out in the buttfuck nowhere, has a. Do you hear the salon?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I keep hearing people talking.
Dude, we
I'm
could
like,
get all the tea.
Is fucking Darrow like, what are we doing?
Hello. That is so trippy. Anyway,
that is trippy.
So his cabin was out in the middle of nowhere. Around his cabin, he had a chain link fence. Who puts a chain link fence?
In the forest?
In the forest.
That's weird.
In Oregon.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to stop?
Oregon's
a chipmunk?
Beautiful. If you've ever been over there,
this cabin is not cute, but like the area around it
is gorgeous.
Is like Oregon Central. Like it's gorgeous.
Love it.
It had big bars across the window with padlocks on the outside of them, and in a big thick door with an escape hatch out the bottom.
What?
He was a fugitive. Like he was a fugitive, so he knew that he needed to run or hide. Mm-hmm. So he prepared this house so that he could slip out the bottom and crawl out from under the deck and leave.
It would be harder for them to get inside and he could run.
Like
they wouldn't have it surrounded.
Yeah. So there's all that, right?
Yeah.
So then our actual suspect.
Yes.
There's another death.
Around him?
Yes.
Wow.
So he's dating this chick, having an affair, like
from the wife that called the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is this in town?
He's fallen through the ceiling for more than one bitch. That's all I'm saying.
Is he still in town?
I don't know.
Who would have an affair with him?
Oh, so at first she was repulsed by him, da-da-da.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
They all, the Civic Theater cast was like, there's no way in hell. Like, there's no way in hell. Like, that doesn't make sense. And her name was, I think it was Claudia.
Can we say her name? Fuck it was in the documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got her name there. Go.
So it's very interesting. She committed suicide.
Oh, that's horrible.
Who found the body? Yeah. Oh. So it's a question, was she just was he holding a gun to her head and said, take lots of pills? Like, he just happened to fucking find it again?
Right.
Like, you're like 3 for whatever, 4 for 4 at this point.
That wife needs to, if she's still there, she needs to go.
I think that they got divorced. Oh. She died. I don't know. I don't remember that
She needs to go.
Yeah.
Because that's like, you know what? It's admirable of her to stick through him if she did actually stick through him for the whole murder trial thing. Like that takes guts and something that I personally just wouldn't do. But even to stay with him after you cheated or after he cheated on you and she killed herself, terrible.
Yeah.
Honey, you need to go.
Yeah. So at this point, they're actually looking into him more.
Right.
And they are starting to make him put his timeline together.
Good.
So he said, I went to the theater at 11. Oh, but you said you weren't there. Oh, but remember I fell through the ceiling. Oh, wait, this is when I moved my car. So like he starts actually getting more talked to with.
Right. They're like, you need to tell me exactly where you were. You need to give me timestamps and everything.
Yeah.
Which, peace and love, they probably should have had him do that a while ago.
So then It was 1982.
Right.
So we're still around.
82. Okay.
Still around in the same section. I think it was. I don't remember how to pronounce her name.
Okay.
Jansen. Dearjan. I think she was Hispanic.
Oh, okay.
The body was found, and this was in Napa area.
Oh, Idaho. Oh, down by Lake Boise.
Yes. So this random body was found of like this little girl.
Yeah. Oh, how old was she? Sorry.
It didn't say.
Okay, she just was younger.
It was not like they did their own thing. Like they weren't doing whatever. But this cousin that comes back linked that the property that she was found on was super close to our suspect's property. Oh. So she wants to kind of link things together.
Oh, so there's not really a whole lot.
There's not data that he was there, really. Sure. There wasn't, it was that old too. Fishermen found her. They found her that day.
See, now we're seeing a pattern. Like that's a pattern. Mm-hmm. Right.
So that happened. And then in 1972, Santa Cruz, California, really random.
Right.
This woman was found naked in the ocean. She had died. They assumed suicide. They assumed accident.
Sure. Right.
But she was naked. It was 3 a.m. Nothing really made sense.
Right.
So this was Antoinette Ananos.
Okay.
Sorry.
The woman's name?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She was 17, so she was pretty young.
Oh, terrible.
So, we're hitting every freaking age group. Like, there's no rhyme or reason at this point.
We've got a younger girl. We've got a 12-year-old. We've got a 17-year-old now. We've got an 18-year-old. A
35-year-old male.
35-year-old male. We've got a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old.
And I think this girl was, 12-ish, too.
Oh,
so, we're hitting weird. So, the body was taken to Willow Glen Mortuary.
Okay.
At that time, the morticians would live there, right? Like they would live attached to their house. I think that they were immigrants from somewhere. I think it was Germany or something. They knew what they were doing. They had a showroom, whatever. So this woman gets taken in. They preserve her.
Do the whole things.
They put her in the flower room for her ceremony the next day.
After they found her?
Yes. The next day. So, let's just say the next day, they worked on whatever they need to work on.
Well, it feels like they would do some investigating. You'd think they...
Not at that time, because she died, she was in the water, cool.
Okay,
fair point. They didn't think about it.
No, I know.
But...
Hit me with a butt.
She is presented, waiting for her ceremony.
The whole thing, yeah.
The motherfucker who falls through the ceiling, cuts the screen off the window, and sneaks in and does stuff to her. Our suspect. No shit. So he's cutting the thing.
Oh my God.
He was going into the building. Right. He was doing whatever.
Fooling around.
And leaves. And the dad, living there, goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And so he actually gets arrested that night.
Hold on. Oh, sorry. I just need a couple clarifying questions. The dad, her dad?
No, the dad of
this immigrated
group. The
mortician. The mortician comes in here and is like, "What the fuck are you participating with?" Do you think that's why he killed the other ones?
What other ones?
The 5 that he's suspected of killing. Yeah.
It could be.
See, I agree with you. I think Stephen,
the one that went missing.
35. Yep. I think he was wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. I really do.
Well, really, all of them are really all are in a weird way. True. But his is you really just happened to step into
the wrong
den.
Right. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't I was walking wrong place, wrong time. It was I was practicing my freaking clarinet and wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, terrible.
Which. He was over 6 foot, so I would assume he was okay, let's I'm going to save them.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
I could see that, and that's what his friend said.
Do you know our suspects, measurements? Tall guy,
so the farmer said...
Go.
Farmer said that he was under 6 foot, not very tall.
Short guy.
150 pounds-ish.
Okay.
Other people said, oh, yeah, he was a big guy. Well, to all these little girls, he would be a big guy.
Right.
So that data isn't even. Well, I didn't look it up.
My only thought is to take on two people at the same time. And really, in that case, he kind of took on 3 people at the same time.
Yeah.
You have to be strong. Like, I'm assuming what happened is, or this is and obviously this is conjecture that I don't know. I wasn't there and I haven't read anything. Like, literally, she's just telling me the story. But my thought is like, he had to have incapacitated the 2 girls first, and then Steven walked in on him participating in things he shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And then took out this guy. Because there's no way. I guess there's just no other way in my mind that this guy took on 3 humans at under 6 foot and 150 pounds.
So
I just don't get it.
The Great Google says eyes are gray, height 5'11", weight 160, race white.
So he's not a big dude.
No, but like to a young woman, yeah.
Oh,
like, you'd be
absolutely.
like, oh, okay, but like to 6 foot Steven, no.
No, like, yeah. So, I mean, this guy, back to our theory though, he can't, participate if they're looking at him or if they're facing him. He's doing it from behind. I guarantee he took them out from behind. They were doing something, other things, and then he came up behind them and got him.
Or he was literally practicing his clarinet. And he thought, oh, wow, this person is going to hear something or maybe heard something or whatever. So, like, if you're practicing something, you're not listening to people coming behind you. You're completely defenseless. Oh,
I didn't think about that. Yeah, for sure.
So, and his clarinet was left on the stage, like, which is where he would have been practicing.
Right.
So,
and he would have took it with him.
Yeah.
So,
that whole thing happened really weird. Like, that whole thing in California is so weird to me.
Right.
But so they live obviously in there. So like they were right there. So it's like the best witness for what happened, but like awful. There's not really much data in that he went to jail. Like, I don't really know. I think he actually got released like the next day because they were just like, he goes, I was trying to get into my apartment. Like he made like that dumbass excuse. Like it was that vague. And I saw that, I think, in a different... No, I saw that in this documentary.
If I remember correctly, and I don't quote me, I'm not 100%, someone else who is better knowledge can tell me this. From my understanding, at one point, fiddling around with just a corpse was like a misdemeanor. Like it was something that was very...
Yeah. I've heard that too.
I'm not 100% if that was, obviously each state
because
but and we're talking about the 80s. Like this is in the 80s.
And at that point, right? Like they couldn't really tell how long you had been gone. They couldn't they couldn't tell a lot of shit. They couldn't tell if fresh specimens were fresh or not. Like they weren't doing that shit. They were like, "Oh, you're dead." Like that was I mean, that's not even a joke. Like that was okay, there's pills here. There's a gun.
We're assuming.
Like they don't know at all. So imagine the freaking real old mafia days where they're like, bury the body. Like they don't know.
Let's move on. Like, you give them a once over and you're like, okay, good, let's go.
Body number 4. Like
body number 4. Right.
So the cousin,
232.
Okay, the cousin of the Civic Theater. She digs up all the shit.
Right.
She finds where this suspect lived when he grew up. I think he was like 17 at this point. He lived in Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, so he's not even from here.
So this little girl was going to the YWCA. She went missing. They found her body, like all this shit.
Right.
And he was the main suspect in it.
At 17.
Yeah, it was like 17 to 25, somewhere in there. So
yeesh.
You've started this.
Back at like way before now. How old was he when he perpetrated? Like when Christina White?
Dude, I don't know, actually.
Oh, okay.
I would have to look up that data more.
Right.
But it's just, the whole thing is weird. So, we have him, doing the whole thing in Chicago.
Right.
Technically, the 1972 is before everything else in California.
Right.
So you flee to California, like whatever, that's a normal thing. Then you have Christina White, who was last seen at your house. You probably took her in your car.
Right.
She was your daughter's friend. School papers go missing close around. Like, she went to a friend's house. Like, that's where she went.
Right. Then I feel so bad for his daughter.
Oh my gosh.
How terrible.
I couldn't imagine.
Oh, I couldn't.
So then you have the bike riding.
Sure.
So we place his van there, Oregon plates, makes sense, maybe weird. It just doesn't really make sense.
Right.
That's why I think that story is so strong about him possibly being the one that found them.
Right.
And that's why I really want to say that happened. If I remember correctly, the reason why that wasn't in the documentary was the person who was with him had passed. So like the first-hand account couldn't say it.
Corroborate it.
But I'll say it. Anyway. So
you heard it here first, motherfucker.
So then we have maybe that. You have the Civic Theater. He knew all of them. He had the call. He had, all that shit. It placed him there.
Right. There's too much evidence.
Yeah.
To point
you have this random girl in Napa who close to his property.
Right.
Like there's just all this stuff.
Right.
So a lot of you guys have heard this name in the Valley. And I'm like, so, like, I don't know. So one of the girls, the one that almost got abducted in the truck.
Yeah.
She was like, I can't say his name. Like, it makes me nervous to say his name.
I don't blame her.
The cousin.
Scary.
Yeah, the cousin, my favorite thing, she's like, and you guys know who he is, and da-da-da. And she goes, the person behind the camera's like, you know his name? She's like, do you want me to say his name? I'll say his name. And she's like, and like they cut out. And I'm like, no! Like it was the best, like getting ready.
Right.
Because she was like,
oh, did they not say his name in the documentary?
I think that they say it like really, really towards the end. And they're like, and this is who we're talking about. Like,
okay.
So his name is Jeffrey Daniel Voss.
Wow.
So this is like the iconic serial killers of the Valley.
If you Google him, like there'll be people even now who will post when he's coming to town.
Yes.
Like we are all we
get current updated pictures
about him and what he's currently driving, what he looks like. Like we are all very current. We know who it is.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I think we are all trying to protect each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And protect
our young population. Like really.
And it's very interesting because they've also said that it's Lance Jeffrey Voss. So I've never really heard which one is the sure.
So he has two names that he's operating under.
I've never heard like one be for sure or not. I've heard more of the Lance Jeffrey Voss.
Oh, okay.
But Jeffrey Daniel, like that's more of a name. So it's like Lance Jeffrey, like maybe, but
sure.
I don't know if he ever
either name is like associated with him, right?
Yeah. So we're all pretty used to it. Should I show his picture? Do you want to see it? I'm kidding.
You do you. Oh, that's your business.
You want to see my clarinet? No, kidding.
That's funny.
That's funny. Keep that in there.
Do they have
an update? This is the updated picture.
I wonder where he's at. He looks like he's at a wedding.
It does look like he's at a wedding.
He's at a wedding.
So this is the progression. That was him as a kid. That was him around the murders. This was him around the Civic. This is like the last one, and then
a current one, right?
But this is current. Like, oh my god!
What is his current age? Do you know?
Oh, let's see. Let's Google it. So just the fact that he owned all this property, he had all these cars, because he had
the means, opportunity.
Yeah, he picked up the girls in a Camaro. He picked up the other one in a van. He picked there's just weird things that no one. It's just like we just don't have any real data because of the fact that we were at the wrong time period. Like this serial killer is insane. 71.
Well, and he's 71 now. Yeah. Well, the farmer's threat's going to be.
I think it says his public records range from 38 to 71. So he probably started all the killings around 30 something.
Right.
Do you want to call him? His number?
Oh my god.
Our first podcast guest. Did you kill him? I'm kidding. I would go in. I cannot do that. I would. We should. Do I kind of want to?
No. I don't want to get arrested today. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, so we love true crime.
We do love true crime. Yeah.
But this one hits home.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, and I feel like our podcast normally is very like upbeat and like funny and you do the whole thing.
Our one episode.
Yeah. Our one episode that we're
just talking about our daily episodes that y'all don't see.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very like upbeat, and this one kind of really wasn't upbeat. This was like kind of a more serious conversation, and I don't know where I was going with that.
But we have had other tragedies, other deaths, like your cousin, my great whatever, I don't remember what she is.
Right,
She's my mom's cousin.
Right.
Patty, she went missing.
Oh,
they think
terrible.
her husband died. You know, there's
Right.
I think it was a Tedder. Like we have all these other unsolved ones.
Right.
There's another point that they think Jeffrey was involved in the Tedder murder.
The what murder?
She was the last name would have been Tedder.
Oh, okay.
And she was murdered in the basement. One of the girls saw what happened. Oof. So she actually saw who did it.
Sure.
There's just like weird stuff with that. But Jeffrey Voss, one of his girlfriends, lived like down the road or something. So they thought maybe he stumbled into the wrong one, was going to kill her. And da-da-da. So like it's weird because like we almost try to fit him in other places where he doesn't necessarily belong because he's so iconic in our valley, but still nothing's happened.
Right. I wonder, because he's 71, I wonder if we'll get a deathbed confession.
That's what I'm
wondering.
And at that point, I'm going to petition for a firing squad. I really don't.
Public stoning.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. So there's something about this that really, I don't know, it pisses me off.
Right.
Like, I could watch true crime and I'm an empath through and through, and I get so emotional. There's something protective about that it happened in my town.
Right.
Happened in my town. Anyway, that I'm like, I need to do everything I can. That's why, like, the Civic, I wanted to buy it just for, like, shrine or sacred space or something. Because it's like,
or someone so they could go back in there and
someone literally just got taken and was like, your life's done. Like, you can't do that to a human. Like, there's humans I would love to freaking do that to, but I'm not doing it.
Because it's not my job. It's not my job.
Like,
place.
I mean, frick. I hate that. But that's kind of how the story ended. Is it just there's
and that's no where we're at. And that's just
FBI did get involved. Like they had been involved. They did do all the tests that they could, but a lot of the data, that 34 to 38 years, that's how long that certain parts of that data had not been touched. Like they had analyzed it and now hadn't.
Right.
So without like Jackie Nichols and like other people, like that cousin, like there's people that they would forget. Like they would forget but it's such a haunting story that it can't, because when you actually talk to people in our valley and who know, which most of them do, they'll tell you about it. And they'll have their own spin on it, and they'll say, oh, I've seen him. Oh, I had lunch with him. Oh, I did. And it's like, whoa, like
crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I guess if you guys have any questions about that, you guys could comment too, because I don't.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We need an email. Do you have an email? We have an email.
We have an email.
Oh my gosh. Email.
What is our email?
State the email.
I think it.
And see, like, shoot us if you have any like question, comments, concerns. Yeah. Yeah, literally.
Shooting the email.
Yeah, there you go.
shootingthebowlpc@gmail.com.
Email us. Fan mail.
Be appropriate, please.
Yeah. I mean, we have another email that you can direct your death threats to. It's called My Middle Finger. Sorry.
All right. Well,
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
Very good. Good investigative work. Good on you, buddy. That was good research.
I watched one documentary.
There was 2 parts.
Just kidding. I've been really invested in this for years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I feel like it's important. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're excited to see you next time. Bye.